Global.
There is concern tonight from the union representing firefighters in the Halifax area about how the big lift redecking project on the McDonald Bridge will affect their response time. Nighttime closures only began this week, and already the union president says there's trouble. Global's Natasha Pays reports.
When firefighters are tackling a blaze and need additional resources, a computerized system automatically chooses which station is closest to the fire and dispatches them. With the overnight closure of the McDonald Bridge for the Big Lift project, the head of the firefighters union is growing concerned.
The dispatch people that work there are not allowed to modify that. They're not allowed to think on their feet, as you will, and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to send that truck because the bridge is closed. I'm going to send this other truck.
On March 2nd, a bus caught fire on Almond Street and an aerial apparatus was needed. Gates says the computer didn't choose to send the correct resources.
The computer picked the truck that was the furthest away.
Normally, the truck would have came from the King Street fire station to the blaze, but with the closure of the McDonald Bridge, the truck had to go through Dartmouth and over the McKay Bridge.
Our deputy chief put out a memo on the 23rd of February indicating to all the firefighting personnel that the modifiers had been changed. Well, we had the fire on the 2nd of March, and I'm saying that they weren't changed, because if they were changed, it wouldn't have picked that truck.
In fact, Gates says the equipment they requested was available at the Highfield Park Fire Station, located closer to the McKay Bridge, a station the responding fire truck had to drive past on the night of the fire.
It took almost in the neighborhood of a 15-minute response for that apparatus to get to the scene, whereas if 12 aerial, the apparatus out of the Highfield Park Station, had been selected, the response time would have been much shorter.
At least one city councillor calls the mix-up alarming.
My concern is if we don't have the right information, there could be other situations like this. In my area here in Hubbards, it's 25 kilometers from the nearest fire station to the county line. That's 25 minutes doing 60 kilometers an hour. There will be no houses left to save if we don't have the right information so that we can make the right decisions about fire protection.
Global News did reach out to the city to comment on the story, but there was no one available for an interview on the union's concerns. Natasha Pace, Global News, Halifax.
Speaking of fire stations, officials will be back before Halifax Council this week looking at whether or not to close several stations in the city. Petitions have been going around HRM from concerned citizens worried about what fewer stations in the city would mean for their communities. A report was introduced to Council in December that recommended closing 3 fire stations in the urban core and 4 rural stations. The plan also suggests moving 2 Bedford fire stations and spending nearly $10 million to upgrade the technology the fire department uses.